Hey everyone, Poindexter here, and we continue our playthrough of the solitaire wargame Western Front Ace. In the last video, 2nd Lieutenant Daladier scored another victory, destroying a German two-seater over friendly lines. But he was forced to make 2 emergency landings, also in friendly territory, and, thanks to his rugged Spad, survived both landings. Regarding emergency landings, if your pilot attempts one and succeeds, he loses 1 sortie as he makes his way back to base. This was not done after the 3rd patrol, so we'll adjust the pilot log accordingly. After the correction, 2nd Lieutenant Daladier begins a new month free of fatigue. So, let's continue his career. Since we're starting a new month, we shuffle the combat cards and check for any new ground offensives. In April 1917, the Arras offensive begins, so we place the appropriate marker in the sector. This is just north of our sector, in the heart of British territory, so we won't be called on to perform any ground support missions. Now, we determine how many combat patrols will be flying. And Albert will be flying 4 contact patrols. Albert's first mission of April 1917 will be a line patrol. We must attempt to fly to no man's land and back again. 2nd Lieutenant Daladier takes off, and we check for our first encounter. It's a 10 and no encounter. Albert moves to friendly territory, and he scans the skies for enemy aircraft and spots a group of German scouts. The flight is made up of Halberstadt D2s, but the enemy gets the jump on us and starts with the advantage. The Halberstadt is slightly slower than our Spad, but is more maneuverable. But more importantly, it only has a single machine gun, giving it a firepower rating of 3, the same as the Spad. Knowing this, Albert will perform a tight turn and hope that the initiative roll goes in his favor. The German scout fires and unfortunately scores 5 hits. 2 hits strike the canvas for no effect, but the Spad's engine is hit and the tail struck twice. Albert's tight turn brings him head-on with the Halberstadt, but the engine hit applies a -2 modifier to the initiative roll, bringing the total down to 10. We roll for final initiative, and both combatants tie at 15, remaining head-on. Albert now has a decision to make. Should he continue going evasive and hope for a better position, or should he take advantage of his head-on position now and take his shot while he can? With a damaged engine, the chances he will be able to gain an advantage are slim. Albert decides to take the chance and fire while he can, using his reflexes and firing an extended burst. Let's hope he can repay the German scout in kind. Albert fires and lands 4 hits. The extended burst adds an extra hit, and most of the shots hit nothing but canvas, with 1 striking the landing gear. The German fires back, and his guns jam during the firing. We determine final initiative. The Halberstadt rolls a 15 and the Spad 16, and no position change takes place. With a damaged engine and little hope of gaining the initiative, Albert decides to take advantage of the Halberstadt's jammed gun and dive away. The German attempts to unjam his gun, but the weapon is inoperative, and the scout cannot fire. The Halberstadt flies away, leaving Albert to his fate. Albert performs his emergency landing. We check the weather, and the weather is good. We add +1 to the emergency landing, but Albert's landing skill negates the penalty, and he manages to land without incident. Albert loses 1 sortie as he makes his way back to the airfield. Though he didn't make it to no man's land, Albert did engage in combat, so the mission is a success. His fatigue level remains at 0. Second Lieutenant Daladier's next mission will be a defensive patrol. This patrol takes place in friendly territory. Our objective is to fly to the area and patrol, looking out for any enemy aircraft. Owlbear takes off, and we check for our first encounter. But no enemies are spotted. Owlbear makes his way to friendly territory and begins his patrol. We check for an encounter, and Owlbear spots enemy two-seaters in the area. The aircraft are LVG C-5s. These two-seaters are evenly matched with our SPAD, with the same speed and agility. And the encounter begins head-on. Owlbear attacks the two-seater and destroys it outright with an accurate burst. But the two-seater gets a chance to shoot back and scores 4 hits. The engine and landing gear are hit, but 2 hits to the crew are scored as well. We roll to determine if the pilot was hit, and a 5 means Owlbear was hit. We roll again for the severity of the hit, and he is killed. But we'll use our good luck charm to re-roll the die. It's a 5, a serious wound. But we must now apply the second crew hit. But, thankfully, it has no effect as it strikes a non-existent crew member. The two-seater is destroyed, and Owlbear is credited with another victory. With a serious wound, Owlbear must land immediately. We roll for the weather, and the weather is good. This landing could be tricky for Owlbear. We add +1 for the emergency landing, another +1 for the damaged landing gear, and +1 for the serious wound. We apply a -1 modifier due to Owlbear's landing skill for a final modifier of +2. It's a 4, modified to 6, and a safe landing. Now we must determine how seriously Owlbear was injured. He has taken a bullet through the leg and will be out of action for 2 months. Owlbear returns to the escadrille in June 1917. During his convalescence, Owlbear is promoted to first lieutenant, an automatic promotion after 3 months. He gains his 3rd prestige point. And with that, we've reached the end of this playthrough video. First Lieutenant Daladier scored his 3rd victory, and nearly died in the process. Only thanks to his lucky charm was he able to cheat death, suffering a serious wound instead. Unlucky outcomes with an inferior German Halberstadt and another deadly two-seater encounter continue to hamper Owlbear's attempts to score even more victories. But somehow, his rugged SPAD continues to get him through, holding together just long enough to escape some harrowing encounters. It also helps that all these incidents continue to happen on the friendly side of the lines, allowing him to continue flying. With the loss of his lucky charm, our newly promoted first lieutenant is now on borrowed time. But, thanks to his boost in prestige, the odds may shift in his favor, as the French Air Service is bringing a new, more powerful scout to the front lines, and this one will be more than a match for the latest German scouts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next patrol.